cholesterol, sugar in your body, how much you're carrying, how much you shouldn't carry, how much you should eat and shouldn't eat, and so forth. Chatting with Madonna Guy, of course, Bay Health on Bay FM. Tell me more about doing your checks and keeping in balance the sugar levels.
Yeah, so we do an insulin resistance test at New Leaf, and the nice thing about it, we can do this from people's blood tests. If they've had a full cholesterol check within the last month or so, we can absolutely use those figures. But what it gives us is the cholesterol levels, HDLs, LDLs, triglycerides.
Good and the bad, yes.
Exactly. And what you can do from that is work out whether or not your body is insulin resistant, so on the way to diabetes, on the way to dementia. Like, you are aware that dementia is now considered third stage diabetes. It's sort of like, so insulin resistance is one of the leading causes.
That makes a lot of sense because it is on the increase.
Yes.
We all know that, and younger and younger people are being inflicted with it, which is a tragedy in itself, but also on the increase, hugely so in the Western society, diabetes.
Yeah, it is. And so you know that people with diabetes, if they don't get it under control, they're likely to lose limbs. Toes and feet and ankles and things like that.
I know a bloke that happened to not so long ago, and he was a very, very good tennis player.
Yeah, right. So what ends up happening is the body is trying to send the insulin, which is inflammatory, away from the heart. So your hands, your feet and your brain are your extremities. So the insulin will go to and that's why people start getting, it's one of the reasons, it's not the only reason, but it's one of the reasons for peripheral neuropathy, when people start getting numbness. Now, that can be a structural thing.
They might come with age too, can't it? Like if you're 87 years of age, that can be just a natural occurrence.
Definitely.
Body's slowing down.
Absolutely. So the nerves can just be exhausted. And nerves, there's lots of, there's layers of fat on the nerves, like the myelin sheath. So people with, say, multiple sclerosis, they're losing their myelin sheath on the nerves. So therefore the nerves aren't firing correctly. So basically when someone is, like just say you are doing your cooking and you put your hand on the stove and 2 seconds later you go, ow, the nerves aren't working.
And I believe as you grow older, working in the kitchen, chefs in particular, the nerves have been burnt so often that they lose a lot of feeling with heat.
Well, the boys on MasterChef always joke that, a good chef, you got to get used to grating your fingers and stabbing them with knives. But, you'd want to avoid it. Get some knife skills.
Well, it's a bit like the old butchers years ago when they didn't wear those gloves.
Yeah.
You always pick a butcher who's missing a couple of fingers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so basically insulin is very much linked in with dementia, peripheral neuropathy, that sort of thing. So we do insulin checks. Now, this is before diabetes. So, yes, if someone thinks if you're waking up in the middle of the night really thirsty, if you're constantly exhausted, if you're yawning all the time, if you're just not getting that nutrition out of your food, you're eating and you're starving straight away, these are signs that might be diabetes, but it's often pre-diabetes. And everything takes a long time to appear in your body. It's not going to be that you get these...
And it takes a long time to get back to normal health.
It does.
It's not turning a page and I'm going to feel better tomorrow.
No, that's
You've
right.
got to be patient and
exactly. And your nerves, if you put them end to end, they go to the moon and back. You've got many, many, many kilometres of nerves in your body. So when you start trying to repair them, and it doesn't matter I don't know if medicine actually helps to repair them or whether they just stop the deterioration so fast. I think that's more what it's about. Yeah. Because I think with the plaques in the brain with, say, things like MS and Parkinson and Alzheimer's and dementia, they're looking more at stopping those plaques building up in the brain. So people get the brain scans regularly to make sure they're not building up and then get their medications adjusted. Whereas with things like, say, EPA and DHA in your fish oils, DHA, once again, in big enough doses, the DHA can help to regenerate your brain. High levels of cholesterol, good things like lecithin in your foods, in smoothies and that sort of thing. Remember the old packets of lecithin that you used to be... Yeah, so lecithin, you used to be able to buy it in packets. I'm sure you still can in Coles, Woolies, just
How
in
do
the...
you spell it?
Lecithin, Lecithin. Lecithin. Yeah. So it's something that if you add it to, say, smoothies and that sort of thing, it's got phosphatidylcholine in it, and that's one of the things that helps to build the coating on your nerve membranes.
And this would be something from our grandmother's era, is that
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
We've decided we're too clever and we don't have to take it anymore.
That's right. And I think a lot of those things that we used to do, and don't forget, people when they farmed, they used to eat their bacon and eggs for brekkie.
Yes.
So because they started with a protein meal.
45 for a man.
Yeah.
It wasn't very long.
No, but it has been getting longer. So, and I know that
very
medications are absolutely increasing lifespans. No doubt about that. But we also want our quality of life to be there. You know.
Well, yeah, you don't want to be tripping to a doctor and having a leg amputated because
No.
your diet was wrong.
No, that's right. And especially since there was a really good Jamie Oliver special a couple of years ago where he was looking at things like amputations and teeth being removed and all sorts of horrible things like that, and in really, really young people. So he was talking about the fact that every week in the UK, something like 20 kids have all of their teeth removed because of sugar overdose.
Have you read the Courier this morning?
No, I haven't.
Well, on page 2, the front page has got Malcolm Turnbull in his swim cosy. I don't know why journos have to bother with that. The man's 63 years of age. But page 2, virus tricks body into attacking brain cancer. Now, we know brain cancer is a terrible, terrible way to leave this world, but a trial of a potentially new brain cancer treatment has shown that a virus injected directly into the bloodstream can reach tumours deep inside the brain and switch on the body's own defence system to attack them.
Interesting.
No,
So it's basically getting the body to start creating antibodies. Yeah.
To do its own work.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's basically hitting the trigger to
Nice.
let your body repair itself.
Yeah, there's a thing called heat shock proteins. A similar sort of thing can happen in the body with, say, coffee. You know, once again, there's studies on coffee every day of the week. But I think one of the things about something like coffee in small doses is that when it hits the gut lining, it's inflammatory. So it creates...
Coffee?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yes,
Enough
everyone
to
does.
bread,
So,
butter,
no,
milk,
I'm not saying don't do it. It's a heat shock protein. So what it does is creates a small amount of damage in the gut lining, which stimulates a healing response. Whereas if you do it 20 times a day, your body can't keep up.
Over the top.
Yeah, so it's one of those things. There's a lot of research with that. So maybe it's doing something like that viral activity. Because once again, the doctors have to start using these sort of things, viruses and bacteria, because that's where the immune system really lies, is in the gut. It's with our bacteria. It's
We're
looking at
chatting
those
with
sort of
Madonna
things.
Guy from New Leaf Natural Therapies. We'll be back right after this.